And that's really what I'm looking at right now is what is my opportunity? What's it going to do to my cash flow? What's my risk adjusted return? And then also, is there value that I can add? Can I add value to the property to make it worth more than what I have into it? If it checks all those boxes, then I think it's a wise decision to sell even when the market's trending upward. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, our sponsor for the show today is Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota. And they were recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through their investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. Look, there's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Hump Day Hustle, the show where we focus on business and real estate as our core pillars of wealth creation. My name is John Stiles with Bridge Realty, and I'm excited for another great episode. And today we're going to be talking about deciding when it's the right time to sell your building. So with me, of course, today is our host, Todd Dexheimer. Todd, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, John. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Can't believe the summer is getting close to over.
We're not even close. We got a long ways to go. We got like a month to go.
You're right. I don't want to cut it too short. But yeah, we're trying to squeeze it in, squeeze all the enjoyment of this warm weather as well we can. So
yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah. Well, things are going good here. Right now, I'm kind of going through a couple things. I'm really just trying to do some focusing on, the real estate market's really hot. I'm in a good position where I don't have to buy any real estate. I'm not forced to purchase, which I think we're seeing that people are. I think there's a lot of people that are, and I think that's dangerous. And I say that because I think there's a lot of people out there in the syndication. This could be a whole episode, by the way. There's a lot of people out there that are just, they're doing it to take the fees, right? That they need to get a deal done. They need fees. And so they're overpaying for buildings. And I'm just not willing to do that. And the good thing is I don't need to do that. But at the same time, with that said, I'm looking at other opportunities to expand and grow my business. So right now, I'm trying to create some different kind of values and to see where I really want to expand. And I've really narrowed it down. And so I'm really focusing on those and what I need to do in order to build. It's mainly the education part of my business, not only this podcast, but some mastermind stuff, some group coaching, just really be able to expand that education part of my business and see where I can take that. I really enjoy it. My background was teaching. And so I'm kind of at that point where I'd really like to look at, okay, where can I grow that part of the business? As well as continue, of course, to focus on the multifamily and focus on the real estate acquisitions. I'd never want to stop buying that. However, I want to be careful and make sure I buy what's right for my company and not just force acquisitions. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and just trying to go through and enjoy the process and really focus on being intentional about building the right business and building businesses that add a lot of value. That's the other thing I've been looking at is what kind of value am I adding? I want to make sure with whatever I do, whether it's my multifamily, purchasing any kind of commercial, that I'm actually adding true value to people. And same thing with any of my other businesses that I go about. I want to make sure that the true value is being added, and it's not just about the dollar that I'm chasing.
Yeah, that's good. There's a lot packed into right there. But I think that's really important that you're not chasing down deals just for the sake of it. Um, so many people, I think, are feeling kind of pressure that they got to get a deal done.
Yep.
And it's like we've talked about in the past, it's important to take action, but not to the detriment of your investors and the deal itself. So,
Yep. Yeah, when you're in a position where you feel like you have to take action, that's when you start, in my opinion, start making mistakes, where you have to get a deal done, and people start to overpay. They are looser on their underwriting, and just not really as particular about what they're purchasing, and then they just get deals done. And they got that nice acquisition fee, which is great, but can you perform? What happens if the economy does shift? Are you just going to blame it on the economy, or are you going to take responsibility that it was actually your fault that you overpaid for the property and that you weren't conservative about it? Because quite frankly, when the economy shifts, a lot of people are going to lose their properties, and there's going to be two types of people. There's going to be the people that there's going to be three types. There's going to be one, the owners that don't lose their properties because they were paying attention to what they were doing. They were being conservative. They weren't overstretching. And there's going to be two types of people that lose their properties. There's going to be those who take responsibility and say, look, this is on me. It was my fault. I can see exactly what I did. And we maybe managed it wrong, or we purchased it wrong, or whatever. And then there's going to be the others that say, well, it was just the economy. There's nothing I could have done about it. And, that's what it is. And you'll find out who people are during that. And I just don't want to be that guy that's going to blame the economy. That's not who I am. So, well, let's move on to today's topic. And that leads us to kind of today's topic is selling.
yeah. So we want to know, when is the right time to sell? If you've had a property for a year, 5 years, 10 years, you there's a lot of different factors to consider. So sometimes we've planned, purchase the building intentionally to plan to sell it right in this coming month or year or so. And sometimes we weren't planning ahead of time to sell it, but just looking at how things are unfolding, we're asking ourselves that question: is it time to sell? So, John,
John, well, you're a real estate agent. I guess I am too, but not as active as you are. Um, when you're looking at talking with sellers, what are some of the reasons that you find that sellers are wanting to sell?
yeah, for me, I think it's mostly a situational change. So maybe a couple people are looking to reinvest elsewhere and they need the funds from that property, and it's maybe their least liked property, or maybe it's something else, and they just want to transition into either a bigger property or a different type of property, different location. So that, I would say, that situational change is one of the larger reasons. Another reason might be they're getting either close to retirement or running into some sort of health issues where they just need to refocus more onto personal matters rather than their business. So I'd say that would be a large second reason that a lot of people decide to sell.
Okay. So let's focus on the intentional one, because obviously the other one is more like just circumstance. So let's focus on the intentional one, and that is you want to sell your building because of opportunity, basically, because you feel like there's certain things. Maybe it's the market. The market has gotten really priced high, and you go, hey, I've got a ton of equity sitting here. I would like to sell and potentially do something else with that money, or maybe you're just going to keep that money, and have some of that profit sit into different type of investment stocks or whatever you want to put it in. Or you're going to 1031 exchange it, and you're going to reinvest it into another type of opportunity. So we got to look at, okay, well, what is our opportunity that we can put it into, and is it outweigh the current property that we have? The reason I wanted to bring this topic up, first of all, is because I'm thinking about this quite a bit right now. I've got a portfolio of properties that I personally own well, they're all LLCs, but either way, that I own, and they're just mine. Nobody else has any decision making on them. So I'm going, okay, well, I got these properties, and quite frankly, a lot of them I've just never really had any intention of selling. I bought them back in 2008, 9, 10, maybe even 11, and I thought, well, I'll just keep these things and pay off the mortgage eventually, and I'll have about 40, 50 units paid off free and clear in 20 years. That'd be pretty nice. So, but then I'm looking now and going, well, I got some debt equity. And this came up actually a few weeks ago. I was at a meetup and somebody asked if anybody's got a property in a specific neighborhood. And I ended up having a property in that neighborhood. And I thought, well, I wonder if I did sell this to this guy, what that would do. Like, what would I do with that capital, and how much capital would I have? And when I got to thinking of it, I'm like, oh, wow, that there's a good amount of capital there. And as I'm looking, I'm thinking, well, if I did that, I would need to replace this capital with something that can do quite a bit more. So that conversation started coming up in my head, and I still need to kind of write things down and really figure it out. But what, in my opinion, what you have to look at is how much money are you making right now? How much money can you make on that new building or buildings? And, where the difference is, and is it worth it, right? There's new risk with a new building. So is there value add for one? And is that risk a large risk or a small risk? So what I want to do is, I've got these buildings that run like clockwork, right? They don't take any effort. So what I don't want to do is take and sell these and purchase something that's a complete headache, that has a high risk of potentially making less income than my current properties. That's the last thing I want to do, because I'm busy doing other things. So I want to take and purchase something that has maybe a little bit of work to do on it, maybe some value that I can add, but I don't want to purchase a complete headache with a big risk factor. So that's kind of where I am in looking at things, and wanting to 1031. So that's how this whole conversation, or this whole idea today, came up. What are your thoughts, John? I guess I kind of just rambled on, but why don't you move us in another direction? Why?
Let me just respond to that, Todd.
Yeah.
Related to kind of tapping into your equity, you have maybe at least one, if not two other options in order to do that.
Yeah.
So obviously, you can sell it and get the full equity, or you could refinance it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, that doesn't help me as an agent, or not that, or in general, but, help us kind of discuss why would you, factor out, why would you sell it versus refinancing and just taking out a portion of the equity?
Yeah, good question. And there's a couple different reasons. Let me speak specifically to some of my buildings that I would look at selling. These are duplexes, single families. I've got some triplexes, fourplexes. So it would be a one or two of these types of buildings, depending on what I purchase, or maybe even three or four. So I could refinance, you're right. But if I refinance, what I have to look at is cash flow, right? When I refinance, if I pull a ton of money out, what does that do to my cash flow? Does it really make my cash flow suffer? I'm also starting the amortization table over again, unless I go, like right now, I've got some loans that have like 16, 17 years left. If I start over again, well, I could do it where it's a 15-year or a 20-year, but then my payments are a lot higher. My cash flow goes down. So if I go back to a 25-year, well, then I start the table over again. So there's that. And like I said, I think the biggest thing right now is cash flow, right? Is I go, well, sure, this property might be worth, like I've got a duplex, it's probably worth $350,000. Well, if I do a loan, 80% loan to value, great. However, if I do that, my cash flow goes from being a nice cash flow to what I would call fairly high risk cash flow, where I'm getting very little return on now my new loan amount. So that's something you really have to look at, is how much are you leveraging? And loan to value can be very deceiving, in my opinion, when we're looking at especially single family and duplexes, where a lot of times they're not appraised based on the income. They're appraised based on, the emotion and what other people are willing to pay for. So we go, oh yeah, I got this thing at 75 or 80% loan to value, but would you ever have purchased it and put a loan on it at that amount? Probably not. So there's that. The other thing is, you're able to get all the equity out. And if you can do it right, you're able to 1031 that tax-free. So let's just say if I refinanced a building, let's just call a hypothetical building. If I refinanced, I could maybe pull out $75,000. But if I sold it, I could pull out $100,000. So now, instead of needing to refinance, let's call it 3 buildings, I only have to refinance, or only have to sell 2 buildings. So
yeah, that's good. I guess another option that you might have is, this wouldn't help you achieve getting a new purchase. So if you're really after that new opportunity, this isn't the solution. But obviously the third opportunity is selling in the property on a contract for deed, where you get you get that current market value and you get reoccurring payments. That's just another option that's out there. We've discussed that before too.
yeah, and I think that works really well for a couple different types of people. I think it works really well for somebody who's desperate, for one, if they need to get their money. But it works really well for people who are kind of in that second boat, where you said they're either checking out because they're retiring, maybe they've got some medical issues, maybe whatever, maybe it was an estate and they got it, and they don't necessarily need 100 or 500 or $1 million or whatever that sale proceeds are going to be, but they're happy to get $1,000 a month in income without having any headache of dealing with the property. So I think that is probably the number one reason for seller financing. Number two would be probably because you're desperate and you need to figure out how to sell this thing as quickly as possible. And again, you don't need the lump sum.
Yeah. And when you say you're desperate, maybe that particular property wouldn't sell otherwise,
yeah,
for traditional mortgage and
right,
or that type of thing.
Doesn't qualify for financing for whatever reason. It's not occupied, or it's 20% occupied, or whatever it might be, but it's a complete disaster, or whatever it is. I mean, I've bought property seller financing, and most of the times I've bought it, I've bought 3 seller financing. Of 2 of the 3, it's been because they weren't really financeable buildings. The other one was because the guy was retiring and just wanted to be able to spend some more time with his family. Hey, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Pine Financial Group. Look, you work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Because of inflation, money sitting idle erodes your wealth. Many investors understand that real estate is a great investment, but may not want the effort or the risk that comes with owning their own property. They want to sit back and have payments, hit their bank account each and every month. Stop eroding your wealth and start building it by asking your money to work for you. You should be earning profits while you sleep, an investment backed by real estate. Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota, was recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through the investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. There's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. It's www.pineinvestments.com. I want to invite you to join us at the North Star Real Estate Conference. This conference is September 20 and 21st in Minneapolis, and it's going to be packed full of a ton of great speakers. We've got just a great group of people speaking. And you can look at our lineup on our website, nreconference.com, and sign up there as well. We've got an early bird special. All you need to do is type in early bird, one word, and you can get $100 off. And that's good through August 10th. So make sure you sign up now. Take action. Look, people that take action and value their education are those who are going to succeed. I know there's a lot of free content. My podcast is free. There's all kinds of free content out there, maybe even free meetups that you're attending. But this conference is going to blow your socks off. This is going to be well worth the price, and all the profits go to charity. So it's definitely time to take action. Sign up now. Don't delay, because the prices will go up. But you know what? Every time I attend a conference, I 10x. Actually, I would say I more like 1,000x even my investment, 100, 1,000, potentially even more X my investment. I've met so many fantastic people. I've met investors at conferences. I've met potential partners at conference. I've joined mastermind groups because of conferences. So it's a ton of value. You cannot replace it. So check it out, nreconference.com. Thanks a lot.
So yeah, let's focus back in now of just deciding if now is the right time to sell.
Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things too, John, is you got to go, well, what do I do with this property, right? And so with you being an agent, what are some of the options? What do we do with the property? Do we sell it as is? Should we fix it up? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, in today's market, most of the time you can sell it as is. You know, there's so many buyers out there that are just chomping at the bit to get something, as we've discussed. And so, I mean, depending on, you know, we really have to look at the specifics of the property, what is the condition, and are there some obvious and simple things that you can do that would really increase the value quite a bit. So, you know, versus something that might be difficult and wouldn't have as high of a return on the sale right away.
Yeah. So like, can we come in and maybe do a little bit of landscaping, maybe do a little painting, maybe dress up, you know, the outside or some of the hallways, or just some minor things, and basically put a little bit of lipstick on the pig. That'll help sell. And I'm not telling people to hide things, but if you just dress it up a little bit, like you said, that can make it look a lot better, where somebody's going to look beyond, you know, maybe the outdated cabinets and maybe the outdated flooring and stuff like that, where they go, oh, this, you know, looks nice on first impression. So they're okay with it.
Right. It's really amazing how far paint can go. I mean, if your property, the walls are dirty, you know, smudged with fingerprints and maybe places where the paint's peeling or chipping, you know, that is just going to cast the rest of your building in really poor light. Even if, say, you've got a brand new roof. Oh, look at my brand new roof, or my brand new appliances. Yeah, but when you walk in, the place doesn't look great. So, yeah, paint is one of those things that can go really far, and it's not, you know, not very expensive.
Yeah, probably the easiest thing to do as well. I mean, you know, like you said, it's not very expensive. It's easy. It's quick. You can paint. If you hire it out, you can paint a whole house within a week, or a lot of times a lot less than that. So, one of the buildings. So I am looking at selling, like I said, a couple of my buildings potentially, and I did look at a building just today, and it's a tired office building, which I've never purchased an office building. So it's just a little different of an animal, but that was just a big portion of that was just paint. Like it just needs some paint. It's got these old ugly doors that are, just tired, and trim and walls. And it's just like, you just need something to clean these things up to make them look a lot better. The entrance is just old and tired. And now we would do other things like some tile work and some lighting and stuff like that. But the paint is going to be something that'll go a long, long ways and really help clean the place up.
Yeah. So as for the property owner making their decision, should they sell it as is, or should they put some money and effort into this? It probably comes down to the timing, because for office buildings, for example, that poor uh, condition, it's it's going to actually take a little bit more than just painting it, because it's going to take painting it and then getting the rents up to reflect that new, better condition. I don't know if this was a vacant building or if it was partially occupied or whatnot, but uh, my guess is if it looks poor, then the rents, the office income rents, are probably not what they could be.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will make the mistake thinking, especially in like the office space or the commercial space, not the residential space as much, but the commercial space, they'll think, well, the new tenant will do the build up, the new tenant will do the improvements, the new tenant will paint and do all that kind of stuff. Well, that's fine because tenants will, but if it looks like crap, a lot of tenants won't even look at it. They don't have that imagination. And if the hallways look like crap, well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're a business that, if you're doing good business, do you want to bring your clients into this old, tired, ugly office building that just is kind of, the lights weren't great, the bathrooms old and outdated, the entrance, all that kind of stuff? Do you want to bring your clients into that? No, they're going to probably not think you're successful, even though it has nothing to do with you. But they probably will think, well, it just kind of looks bad upon you. So I think a lot of business owners, they just don't want to be in that type of environment, and they don't feel comfortable there either. They go, I don't want to go into this place it smells musty, and it looks like it's from 1970 or 80. Why do I want to spend my day in here?
Right. So, as a value add opportunity, and with some time, because it will take not long to paint it and get it looking nice, but then you have to turn over, get new tenants, or increase the rent on the tenants you have, to then, increase the value of the building.
Yep. So as a seller, for me, as a seller in that instance, and that building that we're talking about in particular, it would make more sense to actually do some of those things. It would make more sense to get the building as close to 100% occupied as possible and then sell it. Now, of course, you might not be in that situation. You might not have the capital to do that. You might not have the resources to do that, or just the time to do that. But if that was your option, that would be the best option. Now, if I had that same exact building and it was 100% occupied, rents were decent, maybe there was some room for improvement, and I wanted a 1031 exchange and sell that building, that might be an opportunity where I go, okay, I'm just going to paint some of the hallways, do some things in the common areas, and then boom, I'm going to sell it and leave a little meat on the bone for the next person. But I'm going to optimize my value, where in this particular case, I don't know the motivation of the seller, but they haven't done those repairs.
Right. Yeah. So probably a third consideration that we haven't really dove into. Is it dived or dove?
Dove.
Anyways, dove into. It's just where we're at in the market cycle, right? So we've talked about this many times, is that we feel like we're closer to the top than we are the bottom. And so is that in and of itself a reason to sell?
Well, in my opinion, the answer is yes and no, right? So yes, if you're going to take your chips off the table and you're going to keep some of that cash, maybe put it into, um, you know, let's call it bonds or some safer investments, or you're going to keep capital ready to deploy, then it's okay. Then I think that's fine. Now, I think you'd be a fool to sell everything, but some people do. And I can't blame them for it because, you know, it's not like they're going to lose doing that. Now, they might lose out on a lot of opportunity, but they're not losing money. Um, so that's okay. But if you're going to sell because the market's high and you're going to 1031 to buy, well, then again, you've got to really look. What is your opportunity to buy? What's the value? Can you create some value? And that's really what I'm looking at right now is what is my opportunity? What's it going to do to my cash flow? What's my risk adjusted return? And then also, is there value that I can add? Can I add value to the property to make it worth more than what I have into it? If it checks all those boxes, then I think it's a wise decision to sell even when the market's trending upward.
Yep. And so obviously, the where we're at in the market cycle shouldn't be our main reason for buying or selling. It it obviously plays a role, but there's got to be some other situational things and positioning yourself so that you're taking advantage of that instead of being taken advantage of the cycle.
Yeah, I think it's hard to predict where we are in the cycle, honestly. I mean, how are you going to predict that? A lot of people do. I've been hearing people for the last 4 or 5 years talk about we're in the ninth inning. So we've been in the ninth inning for 4 to 5 years. Well, I mean, obviously eventually it is going to be the ninth inning, but when people are telling you it's time to sell because the market's going to crash, well, how do you know? And how do they know? The sign is not pointing towards it, in my opinion. But things can change quickly. So as long as you're following the fundamentals of real estate, where you're buying right, you're buying in good locations, you've got ample cash reserves, you've got good cash flow, and you've got good financing, you're going to be fine. And it's then that is the time to buy if you can check those boxes off.
Yep. And so then when you're considering selling and you still want your cash flow to stay high, you want to be making sure that you have an opportunity to go into that is as good or at least or probably even better than what you're in now. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Well, and it kind of depends. Again, it depends on where you are, right, in your career. I mean, some people just go, "Look, I don't want to put as much effort into it." Well, if that's the case, if you go, I got, for me, I've got, whatever it is, 50, 1 to 4 family properties. Well, if I said I'm done with these 1 to 4 family properties because they're too much work, uh, would it be okay for me to go and purchase a triple net lease because I don't want to deal with that work? Well, yeah, maybe if that's where I was in my investment portfolio, investment career. I don't want that. That doesn't work for me, but it does work for some people. So it might not be that you need to add that value. It might just be that you want to have a good, stable, secure cash flow that's very hands off, turnkey property. So we're going to buy that Walgreens. We're going to buy that, office building that's already been renovated or multifamily that's already been done. And we're just going to cash flow and run it and let it be. And we don't care that we can add a ton of value. We just want it to be good, nice, clean cash flowing building. And that's okay to do as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So you just got to figure out what's best for you as a seller, where you want to go with your money. Do you want to keep that money for the rainy day, which is a strategy, but you're going to have to pay taxes on it, of course. Or do you want to take and 1031 it into a new opportunity, whether that be a value add opportunity or whether that be just a turnkey, cash flow opportunity?
Yep, very good. And, just related to this, I think I would add in, we need to expect that we're going to run into personal issues in the future that would, because everybody has it. Either there's a death in the family, there's medical issues, there's different situations that come up. And we need to take advantage of the time we have now where we're healthy, where we're growing, to really make sure we're managing these properties well, so that whether it's ourselves or our family members, they're not put into a really bad position to have to sell because of some situation that comes up.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. 100% agree. Well, cool. That's all I got, John.
All right.
Take us through a wrap.
Very good. Yep. Well, we appreciate everybody who is listening and watching to the show here. And we really like it when you participate. So go ahead and scroll down on that YouTube video, comment below. Let us know if you think it's the right time to sell right now, or what considerations you'd put in that we haven't really discussed here. You can go ahead and comment on our Facebook page as well, Pillars of Wealth Creation, and we'd love your rating and review on iTunes.
We need to get some music on your rap, and you just need to rap it out. I think that'd be really cool. I think our listeners would like that.
I'll work on that.
If the listeners want to hear John Styles rap, just go onto our Facebook page and comment, "Rap John, rap."
You don't know what you're going to start here.
All right, John. Well, appreciate the conversation, and you make every day a Saturday, man.
You too.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Couple things before we go. Again, go on to our Facebook page, Pillars of Wealth. We'd love to have you on there. Go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review, and subscribe to the show. Also, don't forget, reach out to me if you want any help with potentially growing your business, and reach out to John Styles to help you buy or sell real estate. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Have a fantastic the rest of the day. And as I say, make every day a Saturday.